I've seen some shitty games, but 57 players on release must go to Guinness Book of Records. 57 people, that is the peak player count for Relooted. We aren't just talking about a flop, guys, we are talking about a mathematical impossibility. We are talking about a game that had an IGN feature with 600k views and managed to convert that into 57 players. That is a conversion rate so abysmal, so genuinely cursed, that I'm pretty sure the marketing team needs to be studied by NASA to see how they managed to repel human interest with such gravitational force. Just a heads up, there's no AI here. Just a regular person with a microphone and a very questionable set of vocal cords. Look at this Discord announcement, just look at it. We are so excited to share our vision of African futurism with the world. My brother in Christ, the world is currently busy doing literally anything else. You could get more people to show up for a lecture on the history of beige paint than you got for this launch. This isn't a player base, it's a moderate-sized wedding, where the groom's entire side of the family got food poisoning and stayed home. But wait, it gets better or worse, depending on how much you enjoy watching a slow-motion car crash. It took exactly 44 minutes for the player count to start dropping. Imagine that you spend years of your life, millions of dollars in NGO grants, and thousands of hours of dev time, and the average human being decides, within 44 minutes, that staring at a blank wall is a more rewarding use of their Tuesday afternoon. People didn't even finish the tutorial. They hopped in, saw the UI, maybe walked 3 feet, and said, "Nah, I'm cooked," and hit Alt F4 so hard, they nearly broke their mechanical keyboards. I've had frozen pizzas take longer to cook than this game's entire life cycle. If you're a dev, and your high-intensity heist game has the retention span of a goldfish on TikTok, you might want to rethink your career choices. Maybe try knitting its lower stakes and significantly less embarrassing on SteamDB. Seriously, look at this chart. It's not a curve, it's a cliff. It's the visual representation of a bruh moment. We are witnessing the 2026 heir to the Concorde and Dustborn throne, and honestly, Relooted makes those games look like Grand Theft Auto 5 in comparison. At least Concorde had enough players to fill a couple of school buses. Relooted can barely fill a Starbucks line during the morning rush. And don't even get me started on the "it's on Game Pass" excuse. We all know the vibe. Being a day one Game Pass title in 2026 is the gaming equivalent of saying I have a girlfriend, she just goes to another school in Canada, you wouldn't know her. It's the ultimate cope. The devs are out here like, oh, our Steam numbers don't matter because everyone is playing on Xbox. Bestie, if nobody is playing your game for free, why on earth would you think they're playing it anywhere else? Game Pass has become the new free bin at the front of a yard sale. It's where games go to die when the publishers know they've produced a certified stinkeroo. They aren't getting paid in sales, they're getting paid in exposure and broken dreams. And let's be real, you can't pay your rent with exposure. Unless you're a high-tier influencer, and even then, it's a stretch. Actually, let's talk about the Twitch presence. A peak of 400 viewers, 400, I've seen streamers get more viewers just by accidentally leaving their starting soon screen on while they go to the bathroom. And let's do the math, if there are 400 viewers and 57 players, at least 40 of those players are probably just YouTubers like me, desperately trying to record enough footage to explain why we're uninstalling it. The rest are probably bots or wampus, just vibing in a dead chat. It's a digital ghost town, it's the Blight town of launches, but without the iconic lore or the framerate excuses. The marketing for Relooted was all about team-based haste action, coordinate with your crew, experience the power of African futurism together. Then the game drops, and it's a solo experience. Excuse me, it's a co-op game where the only thing you're cooperating with is your own mounting sense of regret. It's like being promised a night out at a club, and ending up at a funeral for a guy you didn't even know. How do you market a game as a social experience when your player count is so low that the matchmaking system probably just sends you an automated email saying, "Sorry, everyone else is playing Fortnite, maybe try again in 2029. You literally cannot play the game as intended, because there isn't a second human being on the entire planet who wants to queue up with you. You're just standing there in your futuristic gear, looking at an empty lobby, while the background music tries way too hard to convince you that you're having fun. It's giving main character syndrome, in a world where the NPCs have already quit their jobs and moved to a better game. Okay, we have to talk about the funniest thing I've seen all week. There was a comment on the Steam forums, before it got nuked by the mods, obviously, where a guy said the game literally disappeared from his library. And the top response was, the game didn't crash, it just underwent historical reparations. When the bugs in your game are more thematic and entertaining than the actual gameplay, you have officially lost the plot. The premise is literally about relooting artifacts from museums. The irony of the game itself relooting your time and money is just chef's kiss. It's meta-commentary at its finest. If the devs had put half as much effort into the netcode as they did into the virtue signaling flavor text, maybe they'd have 60 players instead of 57. But no, we've got hostile dev energy instead. Have you seen the Steam forums? It's like a game of whack-a-mole. A user posts a legitimate critique like, hey, the movement feels like walking through lukewarm oatmeal, and bam, thread deleted. The AI is literally brain dead, bam, user banned. They are deleting criticisms faster than people are deleting the game from their SSDs, which again, is an impressive feat of speed, considering how fast the uninstalls are happening. Instead of fixing the lukewarm oatmeal movement, they're out here playing digital janitor. It's such an L-take. Imagine being so fragile that you can't handle the feedback of the 57 people who actually bothered to show up. That's not a dev team, that's a gated community with a superiority complex. I want to circle back to that IGN feature, because it genuinely keeps me up at night. 600k views, that is a massive audience. If you showed a video of a potato dancing to 600,000 people, at least 1,000 of them would probably try to buy that potato. To convert 600k views into 57 players is a statistical miracle. It defies the laws of marketing physics. It's like opening a free pizza shop in the middle of a hungry crowd, and having everyone collectively decide they'd rather eat their own shoes. How does that happen? It happens when your game is so clearly manufactured rather than made. It feels like a product designed in a boardroom, by people who haven't played a video game since Minesweeper, but have read a lot of white papers on inclusive engagement strategies. The casual viewer on YouTube, the guy eating his sandwich, multitasking, just looking for something fun, sees through the BS instantly. They see the NGO money dripping off the screen. They see the African futurism tag being used as a shield against criticism, rather than an actual setting for a compelling story, and they just swipe away. They don't even hate it. Hate requires energy, they're just indifferent. And in the gaming world, indifference is a death sentence. And that brings us to the core issue. Why does this game even exist? In the old days, like 5 years ago, if you made a game and nobody played it, you went broke. Simple, survival of the funnest. But now, we have this weird ecosystem of NGO money and government grants. Relooted feels like it was funded by a committee that cares more about checking boxes than checking frame rates. When your business model relies on virtue signaling and tax write-offs rather than, people actually wanting to play the game, you aren't a game developer. You're a subsidized art project with a loading screen. You're a certified bop in a room full of people who are being paid to nod their heads. It's the dustpan effect all over again. These games are made for everyone, which is corporate speak for made for an imaginary audience that doesn't actually buy video games. They target this mythical modern audience that exists only in Twitter threads and ESG reports, and then they act shocked, I tell you, when the actual gaming community looks at it and says, nah, I'm good, I'll just go play Elden Ring for the 14th time. Honestly, I feel bad for Wampus. Can we talk about Wampus for a second, Discord's little mascot? He's out here trying his best, appearing on these dead Discord servers for games like Relooted, just vibing in the corner, while the devs post community updates to a room full of crickets. Wampus deserves better. He shouldn't be the lone witness to these digital tragedies. It's like he's the guy playing the violin on the Titanic, but instead of a majestic ship, it's a leaky rowboat named Social Justice Heist Sim 2026. And what is with the UI in these games? Why does every modern game look like a mobile app from 2014? It's all rounded corners and neon pastels. It's like the developers are afraid that if they use a sharp edge or a dark color, they'll accidentally offend someone's aesthetic sensibilities. I want a game to look like a game, not like a spreadsheet for a boutique vegan bakery. So, where does Relooted go from here? Well, if history is any indication, the devs will post one more "we're listening" update, delete a few more 100 comments, and then quietly announce that the servers are shutting down in 3 months, because they want to focus on new and exciting projects, which is code for, the grant money ran out, and we're jumping ship before the bridge collapses. It's a masterclass in how to fail. It's a textbook example of what happens when you prioritize the message over the mechanics. If you're one of the 57 legends still playing this game, why seriously, drop a comment. I want to know what it's like to be part of a dying species. Are you lonely? Do you have the entire map to yourself? Is it peaceful knowing that you'll never, ever, have to deal with a toxic teammate, because there are no teammates? Actually, don't tell me, I'm already bored just thinking about it. Relooted isn't just a bad game, it's a symptom of a larger problem in the industry, where representation is used as a substitute for quality. We want cool settings, we want African futurism, it's a vibe, but we want it in a game that actually functions, and doesn't treat its audience like they're in a mandatory sensitivity training seminar. Anyway, I've yapped enough, this game is cooked. Peace out.